for the
Oh, I see. I think he likes you very much, you know.
I don't think so. No, I'm Ishaq Al Monsba from Al Wataniya TV channel. Mr. Motsepe.
In Algeria.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Few hours before the last game in the tournament, how do you rate Algeria's hosting of the tournament, and how do you give it out of 10? Thank you.
Yeah. I want to repeat what I've said over and over again. This is the best CAN, the best CHAN ever held in the history of CHAN. And I can tell you, as the president of CAF, I'm very proud. I'm very proud of the local organizing committee, of my brother Jahid, of the chairman of the organizing committee, of my secretary general, the whole staff, the whole team, the team from Algeria, the governors who hosted me, lots of passion. And so I'd much rather, because the score is so high, so high, that I want to conclude by saying it is the best CHAN ever hosted. And what I like is not what I say, it's what the other people say. It's what the journalists say. It's what all of us can see at the stadiums. And you see some of the games, the quality of football is very, very, very good. And the challenge is to get it even better and better and better. So I can tell you, I give Algeria very, very high marks for hosting. And I can tell you, every single citizen of this country should be proud. To be proud of what the people of Algeria have done, and the football leadership, and the government and the supporters. And so, thank you.
Okay, we come here in front and then we go this way, and I promise I'll come back to you in the middle.
Yeah.
I promise.
Okay.
Excuse me, mon frère, please. Okay, madam, please, you go first, and then afterwards we go. Sorry, not you. No, I'm sorry.
Okay.
How can I forget you? You are always here.
Ok.
Yes.
Mahdi Dahak, DZ Foot from Algeria. Toujours la même question. Est-ce qu'on peut avoir une réponse courte et rapide par rapport à l'attribution de la date d'attribution de la CAN 2025? Vous avez dit que vous n'avez pas encore pris de décision. Est-ce que ça sera à Casablanca ou est-ce que ça sera au Caire? Souvent, vous nous dites que vous voulez monter les standards de la CAF, que la CAF doit suivre les standards de la FIFA. La FIFA annonce bien très tôt les dates, etc. Et là, on est quand même à quelques jours et on ne sait toujours pas quand et où aura lieu la date de l'attribution de la CAN 2025.
Okay, don't take the mic away. So I just want to make sure, because you mentioned Cairo. Now Cairo did not. Oh, you mean the head office? At the head office, yeah. Yeah. Sorry. Oh, my apologies. It's on it. So I just want to make your question specifically is, when are we going to announce
Exactly.
the host country for 2025? Is that your question?
Yes.
The answer is simple.
The question is where and when. Really short. If you can answer directly.
But I'm looking at you directly. I was watching the governor of the Federal Reserve Bank. I don't know whether you can, they must translate so that you can hear. You understand it? So the governor of the American Central Reserve Bank, they say to him, tell us about the interest rate. Are you going to go up or are you going to go down? He says, the answer is simple. These are uncertain times. No, tell us, are you going to increase it and when? The answer is, these are uncertain times. I give you a very simple answer. My duty is to the football on the continent. I'm not going to rush into making an inappropriate decision. And there's absolutely no urgency why we should announce it next week, next month, none. So we will do the right thing, because we have to defend the country that's going to host it, including the combination of Benin and Nigeria that have also made a bid. So I think the media must understand that we are not going to rush into making a wrong decision. This is a very, and there's no need to rush. We're going to do the right thing. Because, you know, we are judged by our track record. And if we have a track record of rushing into making decisions that are inappropriate, it undermines our credibility. So we're not going to do that. We're going to do the right thing and defend it. So we'll announce it at the right time. And that's the answer, simple answer. Any other questions?
Please, madam, you have the floor and the gentleman behind you, and then we go in the middle, almost finishing with the questions in the middle afterwards. Satish, I haven't forgotten you, trust me.
Merci, c'est Charlène Bondembe de la République démocratique du Congo. Monsieur le Président, tout à l'heure, vous venez de donner une note satisfaisante à l'Algérie par rapport à l'organisation du Chan. Au cas où l'Algérie obtenait l'organisation de la CAN, quelles sont les dispositions que vous allez prendre pour mettre le Maroc et l'Algérie dans une place confortable par rapport à ces conflits entre les deux pays?
Yeah, you see, my translator is excellent, but he confused me now. If you listen to the English translation, he says there's Kofkan. I don't know what is Kofkan. No, I know what Afghan is, but I don't know what Kafkan is, you know. Thank you. Okay. So I thought it's another competition as well. Let's start again. I want to make sure that I get the question specifically, because she raised three separate. Just give it back to her, please.
Can you just pass the microphone back to her,
And the
please?
translator is one of the best. So you're doing an... So just repeat again specifically what your question is.
Je répète. Je dis ceci. Tout à l'heure, vous venez de donner une note satisfaisante à l'Algérie par rapport à l'organisation du Chan. Et puis, par rapport à ces conflits, vous venez de soulever tout à l'heure que la CAF reste apolitique. Ma question est celle de savoir, au cas où l'Algérie obtenait l'organisation de la CAN, quelles sont les dispositions que la CAF va prendre pour mettre les deux pays dans une place confortable?
Yeah. Yeah, well, I'm taking the last words that our excellent translator said. And the last words were translating what you were saying. She comes from a wonderful country, eh? Yeah. You know, I got my name from your country, eh? You are from DRC, eh? Yes. Beautiful. Yeah, wonderful country, wonderful people. Patrice Lumumba. My father looked at Patrice Lumumba and said, I think I like that. And I had a Catholic, I went to a Catholic school, and there were Catholic priests who said, Madame, somebody must translate to her. They said, we don't like this name Patrice. You must be Patrick. And because there's something called St. Patrick's there. And my father said, if I wanted to call you Patrick, I would have called you Patrick. But Lumumba was not Patrick, he was Patrice. So, but I want to take the questions he said specifically, the translation. What measures am I going to take to make sure that, to make both countries, to make both Algeria and Morocco comfortable? That's a specific question. What measures am I going to take to make sure that both Algeria and Morocco are comfortable? Now, this is in relation to AFCON 2025. Is that correct? Yeah, okay. No, a very simple answer. And that's why I was saying we should not rush into this process, because the reputation of CAF goes with the process. So you've got to be able to indicate to all of those countries, Benin, Nigeria, Algeria, Morocco, and I think Zambia as well. And there were 5 others that wanted to come in, and we said, please, don't complicate this issue. You know, wait for the next opportunity. And a few others said, we want to go in, but we said, you know, your stadiums are not ready. No, we'll be ready by 2025. I love Guinea-Conakry immensely. But we had to go and talk to our leadership and say, we want you to compete in future, but right now, the infrastructure is not ready. So I just want to say, for that excellent, very good question, what is her name? Shalon. I just wanted to say to Shannon, very good question. So when the announcement is being made, we will make sure that the process we followed, the report of the independent committee, the decision that was taken by CAF is taken in a proper ethical sense. I mean, I also said that when the vote comes, it's going to be a secret ballot. Secret ballot. Because we want you to vote based on what you think. Because if Benin comes and says, support me, and some of the EXCO members say, we love Benin, you know, they say, yes, we'll support you. And then Algeria comes, support me for CAN or AFCON 2025. They love Algeria, yes, we'll support you. And Morocco comes, support me. Yes, we'll support. I don't know how is one person going to get 4 votes. But what happens, you know, and we know because some of the EXCO members and some leaders said to me, President, it's difficult for me. And I said in EXCO yesterday, we've got such good ties with Algeria, very good ties. And Algeria has got the infrastructure excellent. But you know what, President? We also have got such good ties with Morocco. And Morocco has got excellent infrastructure. So if I stand there, I only have 1 vote. I wish I had 2 votes. So my answer to you is we've got to make sure that the process is ethical, it's independent and credible. Okay? It's a very good question you asked. Next.
The gentleman behind it, then we come in the center. We'll almost be done soon. I promise I come to you. I promise.
I think with your permission now, because I have deliberately taken longer than I should in the beginning answering the questions because so that some of the people understand where we come from and the CAF position. I'm going to be a little bit more short now. And the danger with being short and brief is sometimes you answer, but you haven't answered in totality. But continue.
Bonjour Président, Dorgeles Kofi, RTI Côte d'Ivoire. Je voulais savoir, Président, est-ce que vous êtes satisfait du niveau de la compétition jusqu'à présent et est-ce que vous êtes satisfait aussi du niveau de l'arbitrage lors de ce CHAN Algérie 2022?
Very, very, very good question, eh? Very, very good question. Very good question. The one thing that we will get right, that we have to get right, is to make sure that there's general respect and credibility of the decisions of the referees. Very good question. You want a nation to win because they deserve to win. You want the other nation to win because they deserve to win. So there's a lot of work that's been done. I mean, I'm going around telling people, we want the African Super League, come and support us. You can't do that if you've got a history of referees whose decisions are questionable. So that's why the issue of training and the issue of VAR are critically important. So we are waiting to get that report by the requisite experts and the requisite committee. And also it's a learning process, an assessment to say, but look at what the referee did, look at what VAR did. And be careful now, we live in a different world. The whole world is watching on TV. They watch on TV. And I have watched some games where they say, but how can VAR agree that that was a goal when in fact it was not a goal? I'm talking not about African football, but football elsewhere. So then, of course, they have to go back again and say, okay, fine. The reason why VAR said it's a goal is because look at it very carefully. I don't know, they say if the arm is in front, you can't play with the arm. So even if that is in front, it's not a problem. It's the issue of the leg. So very good question, and I can assure you that a lot of good work is being done there. And yes, even though the issue of African referees, it's our responsibility. We want to produce world-class African referees and world-class VAR assessors. But in relation to the referees in particular, we work very closely with FIFA, and we engage the best in the world, because at times you must be humble and recognize that, you know, some other nations have got more resources and more expertise, and they are at a certain level, and they've been looking at the VAR much longer than we do, and then use their expertise so that you can be at that level and even be better. But very good question. Thanks.
And President, it's worth noting that this is the first time that all matches have got VAR on CHAN. So obviously something that you were very, very strong about when you arrived here at CAF.
Very good point.
I'm going to go to the back, the gentleman here, and I still have to come that side, you know. I promise I'm coming to you. No need for a revolt. Please.
Bonjour, bonjour Président.
Oh, where is the person who's talking? Oh, bonjour, bonjour.
Bonjour Président, c'est Fatah Abada de la télévision algérienne, Canal Algérie. Vous avez, bon, je ne vais pas revenir sur la CAN ni sur l'attribution, vous avez tout dit à propos des infrastructures, à propos de l'excellente organisation des instances algériennes et tout. Le président de la République, au tout début de ce CHAN, avait dit une chose, il avait dit, aussi bien pour vous que pour le président Infantino, qu'il mettait toutes ces belles infrastructures à la disposition de la CAF et de la FIFA en cas d'organisation de grandes compétitions. Est-ce que vous avez discuté avec M. Infantino ou avec votre staff au niveau de la CAF pour éventuellement organiser une finale de la CAF ou de la Champions League africaine dans un des stades algériens? Merci.
Very good question. And the answer is simple. When we have, you see, I think we made a mistake last year with the Champions League. And when I say it's a mistake, it's because it's something I inherited. And I think what we should do now, and that's what we've done now, is to allow the Champions League final to be home and away. Because it's fair. A decision was taken before I was president that there was going to be this process, and I think, my apologies, and there was a good reason why they said that. But I can assure you that I think the Super Cup, for example, but we have to see what the rules are of every competition. Algeria is going to host many competitions in future. We would like them to host many competitions in future. We would like Algeria to bid for as many competitions as they think appropriate. And the same applies to every single one of the 54 nations in Africa. The advantage that you have and a few others is you've got the infrastructure. And so I encourage Algeria. Wherever I go on the continent, I encourage the head of state whom I meet, I encourage the football administration, but compete to host CAF competitions. And we will look at all of these proposals in a fair and just manner. But a very good question.
All right, we're going to wrap up very soon because we're going for 90 minutes now. That's over the 93 minutes. Please, mon frère.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم وصلى الله وسلم على نبي الكريم محمد الحمامة الملاعب الموريتانية. سيد الرئيس، تحدثتم في مرة ماضية عن عزمكم القيام بجولة للاتحادات الإفريقية للعبة. نود أن نرحب بكم مجددا في موريتانيا. في موريتانيا في خلال السنوات الماضية كانت هنالك دعوة قام بها نادي يدعى الأزاك كونكورد الوئام الموريتاني ضد الاتحادية الموريتانية نفسها بعد بيع لاعبين لليفانتي وتحويل المبلغ إلى الاتحادية عوض أن يحول إلى النادي. ملاك هذا النادي يقولون بأن لديهم اعتراف رسمي من وزارة الداخلية الموريتانية أن ناديهم يعتبر في وضعية بري أنوتاج، يعني رهينة. كذلك أيضا المحكمة العليا في موريتانيا حكمت لصالحهم ضد الاتحادية. نفس ملاك النادي أيضا يقولون بأنهم راسلوا الكاف بجميع هذه الوثائق، يعني بالاعتراف من وزارة الداخلية وبحكم المحكمة العليا في موريتانيا، ومع ذلك لم يتلقوا جوابا حتى الآن من الكاف. تحدثتم خلال المقدمة أنكم مصرون على تطبيق القوانين اللعبة الإفريقية بشكل صارم. هل ترون أن مثل هذه المسلكيات يمكن أن تساهم في تطوير كرة القدم في إفريقيا؟ شكرا.
Shukran. I must tell you, I went to your beautiful country. Oh, way to translate. Yeah, that's good. Yeah. It's okay? Okay. So you respond to part of this. Yeah. Okay? It's okay? Oh, okay. I'll give you 20 seconds. Yeah. Okay, that's fine. Just make sure that he's got it connected correctly.
You should have been prepared.
No, it's fine. So somebody next to him can translate maybe quickly in Arabic. Ne? Madam, you can speak, Madam. Madam, you can speak Arabic? You can speak Arabic. Okay. If he doesn't hear, you said no, or did you say?
Yes.
Thank you. I just want to say that I had the privilege of visiting your beautiful country. I'm not sure whether you can hear me. You can hear me? Thank you. Merci. 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 So I had the privilege of visiting your beautiful country, and I saw the good work that my brother Yaya is doing, and the leadership of football in Mauritania. And I must say to you, the quality of football by Mauritania, excellent. One of the vice presidents was saying to me, yeah, but Mauritania took my coach. And I didn't know that the coach of Mauritania was the coach of Comoros. And he did such good work for Comoros. So I must say there's good work that's been done in Mauritania. The standard and the quality of football is improving. I'm very happy and very proud of the work that my brother Yaya is doing and the football leadership. I'm going to ask Veron to respond to part of your question in relation to the player that was sold and the money how the money was dealt with. Will you answer quickly? Can you answer in Arabic, Veron?
I will try.
Please try French, Veron.
Bonjour, monsieur. Vous m'entendez? Ok. Les cas dont vous parlez, c'était, pour pouvoir répondre correctement, c'était en quelle année?
لا أذكر، لكن خلال الفترة الماضية للمكتب التنفيذي لاتحادية كرة القدم في موريتانيا، أعتقد 2012-2013، يعني مأمورية سابقة للمكتب التنفيذي للاتحاد الموريتاني لكرة القدم الحالي.
Okay. Now the answer is very simple, Veron. In the interest of time, he'll engage with you, get all the information, investigate, and get direct contact so that we address, specifically respond and deal with that question accordingly. Okay?
All right, let's just keep the questions very quick. Satish, very good to have you here once again.
Thank you. Satish Shekhar, Empowers Magazine. There are two questions. The first one is in relation to the Chan. There was a suggestion some years previously that any player based in Africa, in any country in Africa, can represent their country during the Chan. You've said that you see this as the most successful Chan so far. Would you consider that idea of allowing players who are in other countries within Africa to also take part in the Chan, as that would help them to to be put in the window to be seen for their abilities?
But my apologies, I just want to refine that question. Is the question whether we will allow players who are from Africa?
Yes. To give an example, if you had, say, an Algerian player who was playing in Morocco or Egypt, would you consider allowing that player to represent Algeria at the CHAN? And the same, obviously, for any other country.
Very good question. That's what I wanted to clarify.
Right.
Now,
Sorry, can I do my
sorry,
second one, or do I
apologies.
wait until you
Let me just, because I forget, let me just repeat that one quickly, and then you'll continue the second one. Okay. I off the top of my head, the rules say that you must play in Africa.
Play for your
in your country.
In your country.
Yeah, but that's a very good
this
question.
This is a request which is interesting.
No, but that's a very good question. I wasn't aware of that. I remember watching the CHAN, and I watched it on TV when it was hosted in South Africa in 2012. I saw a player from Nigeria who was incredible, and we ran after him and we signed him. So the point you raised, very good question. As a principle, I see no reason whatsoever. I wasn't even aware of that. I see no reason whatsoever why a player who is from Algeria but plays in Egypt shouldn't be able to play for Algeria. I mean, the principle should be you play in Africa. Yeah, that should be the principle. So you know, the problem with me is that because we are involved in so many businesses, you rely on the experts around you, and some of the things, you know, correctly, they know more than you know. But I didn't know about this point that you made, which is a very good point, and we should raise it in EXCO and then raise it as part of the organizing committee. What I don't like is bureaucracy. I mean, you've got all of these funny rules, and you ask, but why have you got this rule? You know, it doesn't make sense. So the point you raise, absolutely, as a principle, you know, the organizing committee and EXCO, our job is to promote football. So you should be allowed, if you are an Algerian and you play football anywhere else on the African continent, you should be allowed to play for your country. But thank you for that question.
Satish, what's your
I
second
just want to make sure
question?
that, so you, yeah.
I've taken note about that.
Thank you. And thanks for that. I was very good question. The second one?
The second question is, I'm not sure if you were aware, but yesterday, very
with as many of the former players as possible, and some of them we may have to fly to that meeting. I've had meetings with some of them and many of them, and also parties to engage. And this question you raise is very, very important. You know, I've had the same problem. You know, the family owns a team in South Africa, and there are players who we paid so much money when they were playing, and they used all of that money to buy a BMW, Mercedes-Benz, and very expensive house, and parties and all sorts of things. And that's why we were insisting that that there's almost compulsory education for them to use the money to save it for their future when they are not playing football. But and I think it starts as follows. This is something we will look at, but it's something you have to do in partnership with the clubs as well. And in my view, part of the issue is education when you are earning a salary, and that's why I always insist for players who played for the family team that, you know, if the family team cannot pay them as much money as possible, they should move on. Football is a short career, and they should make as much money as possible whilst they are playing football. But they should also save some of that money. So I think in this meeting, Veron, this is one of the things we will discuss and get some guidance from the players. But it's something as well you have to do in partnership with the clubs. And for me, it starts with just basic education, financial advice. When you are playing football, we consciously seek to provide employment opportunities for former players. But again, based on their quality, their contribution, their value add. There are too many heroes. I have met over the last few years some of the top players in Africa, who played not just in Africa but in the world, and some of them have got no means to support themselves. So it's something we will engage, and I think it starts with this meeting we're on, where we call as many of the former players as possible. Next question.
I'll take the last 3 questions now, and then we finalize this press conference. Monfrey, you go first, okay? Thank you.
There's a lady there whose hand is up, and we should give her time.
Salam.
You as
I
well.
will, President.
Salam alaikum.
Salam alaikum.
Jalali Aïch Al-Bila TV, President, my question is, vous dites que l'Algérie a réussi à organiser ce CHAN. Aussi, il y a eu de la ressource humaine. On voit dans les différents staffs de la CAF et des instances qu'il y a un manque d'Algériens dans ces staffs. Et je pense que peut-être les Algériens, on voit maintenant il y a Adel Hadji, il y a d'autres personnes de l'Algérie. Il y a des compétences qui pourraient peut-être à l'avenir donner un coup de main à la CAF. Est-ce que vous envisagez de donner plus de place aux Algériens dans les instances de la CAF et dans la CAF? Et pour finir, qu'est-ce que vous pensez de l'accueil de l'Algérie pour le Cameroun et son président Samuel Eto'o? Beaucoup de gens, beaucoup de perplexes disaient qu'il y aura un mauvais accueil. L'Algérie a démontré que c'est un pays hospitalier. Merci.
Yeah. Very good question. Very, very good question. You know, when I go to Cairo, in the office in Cairo, you must see Africa. And that means we have to employ people from North Africa. They must be with us at all times. We've got to employ people from Central, East, West, Southern Africa. It's who we are. And the other thing as well is when I go to Cairo, as well as when we walk around with the CAF staff, you should hear the languages. They should feel free to speak in their home tongue and in the language of their choice, because that's what we should represent. And to the extent that there are areas where we don't have, I don't know, whether it's Nigeria or whether it's Kenya, of course we can't employ everyone from each of the 54 nations in Africa. But it's not so much what we say, it's what is visible. You know, and I want to thank you for that question, because you know, in the companies where I am the major shareholder, I'll give you an example. The company I started has got 30,000 employees. And when you look at that company, it's got to reflect Africa. It doesn't matter what you say, it's what people see. And the other one that merged with another company that we started has got 50,000 employees. So when you look at that one, so it's 80. They should reflect Africa. And the last one is it does business in 40 countries in Africa. So you know. So I want to thank you for that question. And the next time I see you, you must be able to say to me, look at so and so from Algeria. He's there. And what I like is that the General Secretary is taking notes, and he says to me, yes, President, we've got people from Algeria. But I want to thank you for that question.
Merci, President.
Oh, sorry, Eto, sorry.
Oh, Samuel Eto'o.
I saw Eto. He's here. And that is, sorry? Yeah. And I think that is what football is all about. That whatever problems or difficulties there may have been, and of course, those processes we respect and we've got to follow, but that there's this embrace. We can't live in the past. Whatever has happened in the past, I mean, I come from a country where black people and white people were fighting. And Mandela said, if you want to destroy all of us, is when you don't forgive each other and forget about the past, but move on. We don't say forget about the past in denying what happened in the past, but the focus must be how do we build on all of us as Africans and create a future based on trust and loyalty. So I'm very happy. I saw Eto when he was here. And this, for me, this is the spirit of Algeria. There was an issue, there was a problem. It has been resolved, and we built a future together. And I'm confident that that same culture that was displayed in relation to Eto will lead all of us in relation to dealing with whatever challenges all of us have, whether it's Algeria, whether it's Egypt, whether it's Morocco, whether it's Nigeria, or whether it's South Africa, and that's what we believe. But thank you for that excellent observation.
The last two questions, Madam, you have the second last question, and because you are always giving us a hard time, you must have the last question, should you? I'll give you the last question.
I'm told
it's
that
my forgiveness to you.
Yeah, I'm told that at some stage you either become hungry because you've got to go and eat, so you may have many questions, but you stop the press conference, or you are tired and you still have questions, but you still stop the press. So I know many of you are hungry, and I know many of you are tired. So, and let me finally say, we have a duty. If there's any question you wanted to ask and we didn't deal with it, please contact our communication, contact CAF, the General Secretary is here. We have a duty at all times to respond to questions from the media. Madame?
Bonjour.
Yeah. It's
Allô,
on.
Continue.
Bonjour, Président. Enfin, moi, c'est Tatiana Fleur, ARA CSP, Cameroun. Président, ma question est la suivante. Lors de la CAN féminine au Maroc et lors de cette CHAN, nous avons eu des difficultés à obtenir le visa à l'ambassade. Bon, il fut un temps, lors des précédentes compétitions, juste avec la lettre d'accréditation, le tout était joué, quoi. On n'avait pas de soucis. Bon, maintenant, vu les compétitions à venir, quelles sont les mesures que vous allez mettre en place pour que nous n'ayons plus ces difficultés, en fait?
Yeah, Madame, very good question. I had a wonderful time in Cameroon. I just want to make sure I get this, I understand it correct. Are you saying that there were problems getting visas coming to Algeria? Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Sorry?
Yes.
So you had a problem getting a visa
Yes.
in Algeria?
Yes.
That's what you're saying?
Yes.
That's correct.
Yes.
I want to...
It's okay.
So you say not just Algeria, but other countries as well. Okay. I want to thank you. Sorry.
Excuse-moi.
Hello.
Sorry. Pardon.
Yeah. I want to, Madame, I want to thank you for, I wanted to make sure I understood the question. I want to thank you for the question, and I want to thank all of you. Côte d'Ivoire, yeah, and DRC, the gentleman from Côte d'Ivoire and DRC, thank you so much. Because we will take up that matter. And what I like is that the commitment from the government of Algeria, there were many issues we raised with the government of Algeria and said, there's a problem here. They fixed it immediately. There's another problem there. We will try and deal with it. And then there were other issues, and they said, this is going to take time, but let's try and focus. I want to thank you for letting us know, because we will make sure that that message, Madame, thank you so much, and Côte d'Ivoire, call your friend from Côte d'Ivoire, he's sending a message there. Yeah, thank you very much, and DRC. We're going to take it up. I'll be seeing, the Minister of Sports is coming, but I've got my brother here to pass on that message, and in the assessment. You see, because if you don't tell us these things, we are failing. We are failing. You know, we've got to hear these things, including where we as CAF fail. and fix them. Because we want the next time when you come to Algeria that you get the visa quickly. And because that's the commitment. I mean, when I spoke to the President Tebboune, huge commitment, huge commitment. And the problem usually is that, you know, in these governments, some of the things happen down at the bottom, you don't know about them. And that's why I want to thank you for telling us about that, because it's our duty. We'll be back here for the under 17. And I hope to see you when we have, because those are the under 17 who qualify for the world. And I hope then you will tell me, oh, President, the visas we got them very quickly. And of course, there's a process, a legal process that all of us have to go through. But what I like is the commitment of the government of Algeria. But thank you so much, Madame. Merci beaucoup. Thank you for asking that question.
Well,
Okay.
in the spirit of us always having a great relationship,
Thank you.
sometimes, on a serious note, no. Thank you very much for your
Thank
support
you.
always.
Nazim
Mr.
Bessol,
President, yeah.
Botola.
Oh, sorry,
Président,
sorry, just-
Yeah.
Excuse-moi.
Président, vous avez, depuis votre arrivée, pas arrêté d'encenser l'organisation du CHAN, les terrains, tout ce qui va autour. Vous parlez d'une réussite totale. Vous avez hérité d'une instance en difficulté financière. Il y a des informations récemment d'un de vos sponsors qui est en difficulté. Il y a eu le cas Lagardère. Aujourd'hui, comment vous qualifiez le CHAN d'un point de vue financier? Est-ce que c'est une compétition qui vous permet de respirer en tant qu'instance? Ça, c'est ma première question. Et la deuxième, c'est, vous avez parlé de votre vision, de tout ce que vous voulez réaliser en Afrique au niveau de la CAF.
Sorry, just before your second question, did you say Lagardère? You say
Yeah,
Lagardère.
Lagardère.
Okay, thank you. All right.
Et là, récemment, il y a le sponsor qui est derrière. Mais pour tout ce que vous voulez faire, votre projet, votre vision du football africain et de ce que doit être ce football, est-ce que vous pensez avoir le temps de le faire en un mandat ou est-ce que ça ouvre la voie à un deuxième mandat? Merci.
Well, let me start with the second issue. You know, the issue of a leader gets replaced overnight, and that's why you've got to have very good people around you who can continue the work. You know, I told you about all of these companies where we are involved in, and one of the focus has to be, there's this example in English that the CEO or the founder gets knocked by a bus. And there has to be immediate personnel and people in place to continue the work. I mean, the people that in South Africa, for example, when they said that, you know, I may consider the issue of CAF president, they said, but he doesn't even come to meetings of the club owners. I love football. I've loved football since I was a boy, a young boy. But I don't go to meetings because they don't need me there. They do very, very good work, and I've got lots of other things. And the same thing applies to, you know, you focus on the things. For me, football was more on the philanthropy side. I'm at the stage of my life where, you know, it's no longer about, you know, am I going to make another million there, another million there. It's more about how do we make a humble contribution to make this continent and to bring Africans together. Because you see, the people I interact with, you know, we are part of what's called the Giving Pledge, which was started by Bill Gates and Warren Buffett. So you sit there with some of the top business families in the world, and of course we talk about how do we make the world a better place, philanthropy, charity, education, and then of course climate change and all sorts of things. But the world doesn't need Patrice Motsepe. No, but, and I say this with respect because there are smarter, better people in football in the world as well as in business. But the one that I'm passionate about is Africa. And the young people, and of course we use football to give confidence and hope to young people to say, you look at Mo Salah, you look at Sadio Mane, they are so successful. But you know what? You can be the best engineer, the best doctor, the best lawyer. Young boys and young girls take inspiration from the successes in football. In Algiers, in Cairo, in Rabat, in Nigeria, in Kenya. So for us, it's just to make a humble contribution in football to uplift, to grow, to unite Africans together. Now, as a leader, you don't think about, do I need 2 weeks, or do I need 2 years, or do I need 2 months? You have to think about in the context that tomorrow, we have this example that you go fishing. I don't like to say hunting. You go fishing and you try to catch a fish to eat, and that fish pulls you into the sea. And for 6 months, you are in hospital. The organization must continue. So I'm clear in my mind that there are excellent leaders in football in Africa. And part of my job is to make my contribution, humble contribution, not just me, I can do nothing on my own, but the team. And they have to continue. And they will continue. And sometimes the people that come after you actually do a better job than you when you were there. But and thanks to football, because I would never have been exposed to some of the dynamics. And you learn because, you see the Arab world in Africa. I mean, football just taught me what an exceptional group of people we have in North Africa. And we can be proud and say, they are us. They are part of us. And you go to a stadium, and the stadium is called Nelson Mandela, from very far away. Beautiful. The history of the people of Algeria with the rest of the continent. And the same can be said about many other countries in North Africa. And then you go to Nigeria and Senegal. So because when I travel, they treat me like, oh, this is an important person. You meet all of these important people. That's not really where things happen. Things happen on the ground amongst the ordinary and the poor people. So I'm very confident that we are all working together to make a humble contribution, and I've got confidence that the leadership that will come after me will continue to make an even better contribution. Are we finished now?
Yes, President. Just to thank the media from here who have done a great job in promoting.
I just want to conclude and say this press conference took much longer than what we thought. Really, Madam, you can ask a question. Sorry? There were two. What was the second question? Sorry, Madam. The financial issue, very important. I mean, as soon as I became president of CAF, they said to me, kill the Chan, kill the Chan. The Chan is not making money. And then the
Excuse me, sorry.
Sorry, just hold on.
Just a moment.
And the other presidents of the other nations said, President, we don't qualify for CAN. We don't qualify for AFCON. Chan is the only thing we have. And I can tell you what I've seen now, I'm even more convinced than ever before that we are going to put more money into Chan, more resources, more incentives, and make it even better. But at the end of the day, CAF has to run like a business, and CAF has to be profitable. But be careful about what profitable means. Profitable in the context of football means we have to attract more sponsors. And one of the biggest problems in CAF is the agreements which were concluded in the past, where, you get $10 when you should have received, in my view. And I want to thank Lagadier and all of the others for the agreements we've concluded. And for me, as I said, I always look at the positive of my partners, including Lagadia. I mean, there's all sorts of criticisms, but I don't have time for criticism. I want to see how we move forward now. But the point I'm making is that we need much, much more money. And the problem I have is the agreements are concluded. So I need a new competition. You know, I've got, the sponsors are saying to me, we love what is happening at CAF. And I say, there's one I know, I don't want to, he's a friend. Every time he sees me, I say, I need money. He runs away from me. Because he's a friend, I can tell him, I need more money to give to the member associations for African football. So we will make progress and we will succeed, because CAF has to be, you can't compete with the rest of the world if you don't have significant resources. But African football has to be attractive. The people have to love it and say it's quality. Madam, question?
Extra time question for you.
And there's no penalties after extra time.
شكرا. إذا سيدي أظن أنه من خلالكم أولا فوزية صحفية من التلفزيون العمومي الجزائري، أظن أنه من خلال المنشآت القاعدية والهيكلية لنظمتها الجزائر، خاصة أنها بمعايير عالمية، وخاصة أيضا أن الحضور في المدرجات، الجمهور الجزائري العاشق للكرة، أظن أن الجزائر قادرة أنها لا تحتضن فقط المنافسات القارية في إفريقيا، قادرة أيضا أنها تحتضن المنافسات العالمية عفوا، حالها حال عديد الدول الإفريقية.
I agree with you. I think Algeria and Morocco should bid for the World Cup. That would be wonderful. And I think they'll do a good job. They can maybe invite the others, but the infrastructure in this country, I feel proud as an African. And I say the same thing about, I go to Egypt, I look at the I feel proud. I go to Morocco, I look at the infrastructure, I feel proud. I go to Benin, I go to Côte d'Ivoire, DRC, and many other parts of the continent. So I agree with you. We should encourage African nations, and of course we will lobby and encourage them to host the best competitions in the world, not just the best competitions in Africa. Sukran. Thank you so much. Thank you very much. Merci beaucoup.